Jane, one of the the things that I often think about, and for me, I'm a young dad. I've been married just under 10 years and 2 kids, and I know for a lot of people, one of the biggest areas of challenge and heartache, but also joy, is the family life, marriage, relationships, and I know boundaries play such an important role in having a healthy home life. Can you speak firstly just to the dynamic of family and why it's important to have healthy family?
Families are actually a system. So we don't exist alone in a family. So there are members of that family, and we together create a system.
Right.
If I find that my system is not healthy, the most effective and really the only way to go is to look at myself. It's if I shift me, it only takes one person to shift a system.
Right.
If I shift me, the system is no longer the same.
Right.
And so I think that's a great key, that if something is not going well, or something is, you feel like you'd like a better quality of something in your family life, to come back into, it's like first take the log out, or do unto others, or there's all these sorts of sayings that we have in life. But that idea of looking into myself, so how am I contributing to anything that I'm not happy with?
Right.
And also, how am I contributing to something that's good? Because we do need to know what works well as well. Yes, always looking into myself first. We have these 2 parts of life. We have self-responsibility, responsibility for myself, and also the responsibility to love others. So responsibility has 2 parts. Love actually has 2 parts. There's components of love. Love is got to have two essential things, and that is freedom and responsibility.
Right.
If I'm free but I'm not responsible,
Right.
it won't be producing love. If I'm responsible but I'm not free, and I don't have any liberty, kind of sense of life inside me, I will not be taking myself or my system toward love. So free and responsible. So free means I can say no.
Right.
I'm free to say no. How I do my yes and my no in life is very crucial to a sort of to well-being, and to also the way the systems that I belong to run.
I want to hone in on that, because that's such a big area of life, your yes and your no, what you give time to, what you put a boundary in for, particularly in family life and in marriage and with kids, and a lot of that I've found comes down to how we communicate. Tell me, what are some of are there traps that get us unstuck in family around the area of communication? Why do we always, communicate, fall into that trap of saying things the wrong way with the wrong tone? Are there some triggers for that?
Backing up the train a little bit, there's in the boundaries material, there are 10 principles of life. They're called the laws of boundaries, but really they are principles of relationship. One of them is the principle of exposure, so that I need to share honestly how I feel about something. And when we aren't honest, we're sort of saying yes, 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 but we actually feeling or meaning no, no, no.
Right.
That is an incongruity that actually doesn't, that's communication breakdown.
Right.
So therefore, if I'm saying yes when I'm feeling no, I'm actually not really honest. So communication by nature needs to be honest to start with. And
is there a reason we're not honest? What's the
Yes. Really true. We're usually motivated when we're not honest. We've got some other motivation kicking in. It's often fear, fear of what might happen if I am honest. That might displease someone, or I might be afraid of someone's anger, or afraid of someone's displeasure. That's my own issue, and therefore I can look into me and work on that.
Right.
Also, am I guilty? If I say yes when I if I don't say yes, I will feel guilty because I've displeased someone, or we carry around fear and guilt. And those are big obstacles to communication, to honest communication.
Yeah.
So fear and guilt over there are motivators that cause us to communicate improperly, really.
Yeah, wow.
And the other thing is, or am I communicating, I can communicate honestly, and that will take me into the love zone, because we do really have these zones. We have something that takes us toward love, which is free and responsible, or something that takes us toward fear, which is guilt and other motivations that are not going to take us to where we want.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I think, I've found that as soon as you communicate honestly and openly, and there's that sense of respect in the relationship. And if I'm not wrong, respect is also one of the
absolutely,
the
yeah,
laws.
it is.
It's crucial, right?
It's great. Respect means that I'm free to say no.
Right, and isn't that amazing? That feeling of permission, like you're allowed to say no in this relationship,
and to be honest. And then the honest thing happens. The real thing. You've got reality.
Yeah.
When you're talking in unreality, that's actually it's not very good for mental health. Unreality is you do not get healthy things in unreality.
Sure.
Reality is good for mental health.
Right.
So when we're even talking about those issues, but in a family life, communication needs to be honest, to be real. Otherwise, you have foundations that are all over the place and not really connecting heart to heart.
Yes, yeah, and I think that whole idea of that this relationship it's based on love, there's security, there's sense of respect, so that you do feel that permission, that freedom to speak honestly without that kickback. But on that, a lot of relationships don't have that. They don't feel that sense of safety in their communication, and I feel like sometimes they aren't honest because they do fear the pushback of like you're saying. And so are there ways, again, if I was in that situation, feeling that, what are some things I could do to maybe help bring safety, bring respect, and deal with the pushback or the fear of pushback that maybe I'm feeling?
I think that very conversation that you just said is a great conversation to say, honestly, I would really like our relationship to have some deeper quality in it. It's a conversation that we have that we would agree to be more honest, with each other. And it's not only in marriages, but it would be in relationships in general. But in a marriage, you can make that agreement and actually put it on the table and say, it'd be really great thing if we could just be a little bit more honest, because I don't want to upset you, and I don't, I'm really not good with angry or something, I would really love for us to find a step. It's really just one step at a time. I think it's important. We don't need to eat the whole elephant.
Yes.
But we agree to make steps forward in that honesty is a great start.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think that it's so important for us to set up a relationship for a win. And like you said, have that clear, open, honest communication where you feel safe. And I think it's not just marriages. That's like you said. This is roommates, like flatmates, siblings. The amount of breakdown that happens in different styles of relationships. Are there? You referred to the 10 laws of relationship. Are there other laws in particular that would really that really speak into the area of marriage?
They're all wonderful. I'm a fan. But in that respect one, just also there's a flip side of that I not only am free to say no, I also respect the no of the other person.
Sure.
So therefore I'm able to give you permission to say no to me.
Right.
And I might not like it, I might feel bad, but I might feel sad, but you're not bad.
Right.
Because you're saying no to me, you're not bad.
Sure.
And so having that kind of agreement that we'll do life a bit more like this is a good piece in a marriage.
Yeah, it's really good. Now, I'm about to get some free advice from you that is real, because I have a 3-year-old who thinks she's 15 years old.
Yes, they do.
And we're dealing with this thing at the moment where, obviously we're she's exploring her boundaries and what she can get away with, and we're finding ourselves saying no quite a lot and telling her, you can't do this, you can't do that, and she is a redhead and naturally very cheeky.
She's gorgeous.
She is beautiful. We love
gorgeous.
her to death. But but she'll use our own words against us, and so I'll say, Rowie, you're not listening to me, and she's like, you're not listening to me.
Yes.
And I'll say no, and she'll say no. So how do we deal with boundaries in a way with our kids?
It's a lovely thing, really. It's not something that is a problem. In fact, it is the natural development of childhood. So. If you were to look at, the natural growth of children, you would start with parents and they have a baby.
Right.
And so the baby, is bonding with mother or caregiver. And then, so that's a symbiotic thing. It's called symbiosis, where mummy and me are the same.
Right.
And we're swimming together in this sameness.
Right.
And then something happens. And they, so I think it's around 8 months or 10 months, something like that, they start to realise that mummy and me are not the same.
Right.
And therefore, there's a separateness that starts. And so that's where boundaries begin, actually, in that way down there. And again, revisited in adolescence and in adulthood. But this babyhood, where a child is learning to separate, is where they learn their no.
Right.
So no is a separating word.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're doing. They're actually learning to separate, which is really healthy.
Sure.
So we can respect their no as they must respect yours.
Yes, yeah.
And my no's bigger.
That's the key difference, isn't it?
That's right. So for the sake of order and good function, my no is bigger. And so, yes, I know you're appreciating their no and their separateness. So I think that validating their no and their separateness is healthy.
Right.
But it also has to be submitted to a higher authority.
Sure.
And so that also is part of the learning. Yes, you have your no, and that's very good that you can think well and you can decide and have choice, because choice actually is freedom. So what that little one is learning is, I've learnt bonding, bonded with my parents, and now I'm learning separateness.
Right.
And then that's actually essential to have both of those skills.
Sure.
Way down there and early. And then they revisit it again in adolescence, where I learn to be free and responsible. And then in adulthood, hopefully I've, done that journey and I've got some resemblance of free and responsible. But it starts back here.
Yeah.
So the validating, I think, of that little one's choices and
Yeah.
giving choice
Yeah.
is very good. A limited
It's
choice.
choice within perimeters.
That's right, within
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
There are boundaries around your choices.
Yeah.
And there are limits, because love and limits are what you want to join. I have lots of
great.
love
It's
and
great.
lots of limits. And we're happy with those because one is sort of working with the other. It's like relational and structural.
Yeah.
And we join them together.
It's really good. Well, Jane, I feel blessed because I'm going to go home and apply them straight away. Thank you once again
You're
for all your
welcome.
wisdom.
It's been wonderful, Mitch. Thanks.